I always love how little Craig Waddingham gives away. What's the key to winning? Oh, just pop more balls. Simple as that for Craig Waddingham. Shaun Chipperfield, though, with the opening break. It's going to be dry. So first opportunity will fall to Craig Waddingham. As you can hear there, not surprised if you've ever seen Craig Waddingham in a big match before. He's brought some support with him, and he's got vocal support and passionate support. They'll back their boy to the hilt.
Yeah, he does have some support out there. That looked a powerful break from Shaun. I think he came across it quite a bit. He'll be disappointed with the quality there. He's going to have to sit and wait as Craig gets first chance here. This is a huge matchup. I've been really
crazy. I think they've never played each other.
Yeah, I mean, I bet they have at some point in their careers. They just, I did ask, and they can't really remember. They haven't played with Ultimate Pool, and I know that. So, yeah, it's a big matchup though. It really is. It's one I'm looking forward to seeing. Really tough one to call. Both players, and there's a couple others in the conversation, but in terms of who's knocking on the door the hardest to trying to win their first pro event, individual event, we have to say, with Ultimate Pool, because obviously Shaun has the pairs, but he'd love to get his hands on an individual crown as well. But they've both been incredibly close. I mean, Shaun I feel like he's been in a bunch of semi-finals, a huge number of them, and obviously we've seen Craig had an exceptional year last year without having the breakthrough. He's gone through this one pretty nicely. He'd love to not have the one top left as his last ball. He wants top right, really, because he doesn't want those two reds to be a problem for him. He's going to go up there and make sure of it. And the reason I say you don't want top left to be last, because you can just drop this one in, and then the natural avoids the reds on the right-hand side of the table. I mean, he could punch it out if he wants to. Yeah.
Completely right in what you say, though, that much of Craig's work relies on his potting rather than his patterns. It sounds almost a bit trite to say it, but that is relatively unique at this level.
Yeah,
he's a super player in his own right, and it's not to say he's got bad patterns. I mean, far from it. You don't get to where he is without at least a very good sort of level. But what does set him apart is that potting. I think if you wanted to pick any player on the Ultimate Pool circuit to pot your ball to save your life, Craig Waddingham would be pretty high up on that list.
He absolutely would be, and yeah, you're right. I'm not saying that the patterns are just he backs his patterns, back his potting, if that makes sense. He's not, he's not your Mick Hill that's looking for the perfect pattern that you watch Mick in full flow and you go, well, he's not played a tough shot for 2 hours. It's his potting is what his patterns rely on. But it works so well. It's incredible to watch when he's in full flow. Disappointing break for Craig as well. Very similar feel to the Shaun one. There is plenty of power there, but he didn't hit that one as well as he knows he can. Interesting, though, to see him break differently tonight. He came through last week with the cut break, which was a major surprise to see from our perspective in the commentary box. And tonight, for whatever reason, he's decided to change.
It was a strange break, actually. It was almost quite jarring watching that break last week, but it was successful for him. And I must admit, I fully expected him to sort of keep with it. But I just wonder if there's an element of Craig that almost feels like he's at the stage of the tournament, he's just got to go with what feels natural, play your game, do what feels right. Don't overthink it.
I think that's definitely something that he does very, very well.
Shaun Chipperfield, as he's said to us a couple of times through this tournament when we've had him in to the studio after his success, has told us about how he has not overthought it, but he's a real thinker out there. He just thinks incredibly quickly. Similar sort of vein, really, to Stevie Dempsey, with how he was talking through a couple of his finishes earlier on in the competition. It's just that we don't really often have to see it with Shaun Chipperfield. He plays so quickly. He doesn't really have to worry about clock management. He doesn't have to worry about 6-red shootouts, because his matches are invariably done before they're even part of the conversation.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And the other thing you get with Shaun is because he naturally plays so quickly that you miss some of the clever stuff he does. He's played 2 shots before you've fully taken in what he's looking at.
Yeah.
And then you realise, oh, he's got an easy layout here, but actually he's done some clever work early. He's taken a little bit longer to work this one out just because everything was so open here. The pattern was just a tricky one to get your head around the order and the route here. Just giving himself a few extra seconds from shot to shot to try and make it as easy as possible for himself.
It's so often the way, isn't it, when there's almost no clusters on the table, the pattern actually becomes a little bit trickier because there's so many blockers of lanes in the way.
And many different ways of going about it as well.
Sure.
He's a little bit short. He'll be disappointed, actually, with the amount of angle he left on that previous shot. It made it a very tricky shot, and now he's got another very tricky shot to follow.
Yeah, I wondered to the point where I thought he might even just roll in and take this to the right middle and just drop down for the 8-ball. The shot he took on was much harder to execute, and he's a little bit short of where he'd like to be. Big shot coming up.
He's overcut it. First big mistake in the match.
I just wonder if Criag will go or not. That was a really tough shot that Shaun just took on.
I think I can answer the question for you.
Yeah, that does answer it.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Wasn't sure if he'd get through to that, but now that he does, yeah, he'll absolutely take these on.
It's amazing, really, because we talk a lot about power players, but, you know, the players, even the players that, you know, you can talk about, match players, if you like, they're still going for finishes all the time. They're still clearing up all the time, you know. It's almost a style of game. It's the way he goes about it. For whatever reason, you feel like Criag ends up in matchups where it's just 2 players going toe-to-toe on finishes off the break. He just seems to be the way, for whatever reason, it seems to pan out for him.
Yeah, he's been the next in line, it feels like, for the last, well, year, almost. He's had a Pro Series final. He's had a couple of heartbreaking semi-finals as well.
And don't underestimate the route through to the pro game for Criag as well. Decided not to take pro status originally, for whatever reason, and then had to come and do it the hard way, which he did. Played 4 challenger events.
128 player fields, I think they were at that stage.
Yeah, 2 events and two semis. Incredible performance. Smashed his way through, number 1 at the end of the year, only playing half the events, and then hit the ground running in the pro game. He's in the top 10 in the rankings, and he'll be there for a long time. Although he's played a loose one here.
Yeah, didn't he just? Initially didn't think that was going to be a problem, but the longer he looked at it, the more you realised. Good recovery. Criag's such a fabulous natural cueist. He's one of the main reasons he backs his potting so much. He loves the game of snooker. He's often found more often on the snooker table for leisure than he is the pool table. He's talked to us before about that basically being his practice routine. He plays weekly snooker just to keep his eye in, basically. And it's not let him down much so far in the last year or so. Former World Masters champion. Did get to the final of the World Championships once before as well. Was beaten in a decider by Tom Cousins. It would be grossly unfair to sort of characterise Criag's unbelievable career as one of nearly moments, but you just feel like he's due a couple. He maybe feels like he's due a couple, I'm not sure. He'll never tell you if you ask him.
No,
which is fair enough.
Yeah, he downplays it so well. Well, if Shaun mishit his first break just a little bit, he's made up for it with a second. That was the best break of the night, if not the best break of the whole competition.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Yeah, it's up there. That was awesome.
He may have to take, if he goes reds, I mean, he could go yellows, actually. Looking at the yellows, I quite like the yellows, yeah. He could go either way here. You can make the argument against the reds is the red on the right-hand side cushion, which is why I was thinking if you can take the red over the pocket first, then you leave the other one that clearly goes down. The plant you could have made, but the red would have then gone away from the pocket. So for me, the right thing, clear the pocket and now back yourself to get on that one. wants to slide by. Beautiful.
Carl Sutton in the house, cheering on his good mate. Shaun Chipperfield has won an Ultimate Pool title. He won it with Carl Sutton a couple of years ago. Their Pairs Cup triumph is one that was, I know, of huge consequence to both players. Both really meant a lot.
And they've repeated it by making the final the following year as well. They'll be one of the big favourites when the tournament starts in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I can tell you they are in it together again. So to some of your favourites from last year's competition. Gareth Potts and Mark Selby will be seeking to defend their titles. The tournament gets underway in a couple of weeks. We take a week off next week. You see it, the 2022 Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup champion. Fantastic win for him, and a former world champion. And it's worth pointing out that when he won that world title, he came from absolutely nowhere. He was a qualifier in 2016. He completely took the tournament by storm. And several players were, who on earth is this guy? Well, especially the way that he plays, he's an awesome player to watch, and it does translate to those sort of big, long tournaments. It's not like it's just over the short races that he excels. What a break. Both players hit their straps with the boomstick.
Yeah, both breaks hugely improved. I know this cue ball's close to the corner, but you look at the way that the cue ball gets there, it was flushed. Okay, it's a smidge off from perfect, which is why the cue ball goes towards the top left rather than down the middle of the table. But in terms of driving the power through the pack, that was brilliant. And he gets the reward of a good split. Tricky opening ball, though. Hardest shot on the visit. If he gets this right, the rest could be plain sailing. And he will take that. Oh, he'll half take that. Yellow's just gone down and blocked the one at the bottom of the table. So he's created another half a problem for him. If that yellow pulls up one more revolution less, it's an absolute routine finish for him. Now he's going to have to play one good positional shot. Maybe his last positional shot as well. He may leave it late. This isn't actually, he hasn't left this one in an ideal position. I don't think the one nearest the left centre for me is a great ball to get to the one at the bottom of the table. And you can,
it though.
You can, but you'd be forcing it into the middle. He might come down for it now. Let's have a look. Oh, he's got a bit too much angle, has he?
Shot.
Oh, he uses the side cushion, but he's still short.
Line was lovely, wasn't it? But
it was. I thought he was a touch straighter and he could screw down to that area, but actually had to use the side cushion, and actually that's a really hard line to find. The disappointing thing for him is he found the line, just didn't get the pace right.
Now needs this to dig. Needs loads of action on this. Oh, what a shot.
It's beautiful.
What a shot that is. Very good.
Oh, it's just let the cue ball run here. Potted it thinner than he wanted to, which is why the cue ball's gone 2 or 3 revolutions further than he wanted.
But as ever, with Craig Waddingham, he gives himself a shot and he makes the pot under pressure. So I looked at his bio earlier and you see this sort of what you might call sort of traditional pool tour titles, but one thing that doesn't take into account is his almost extracurricular. That he's such a well-known money player and has been a part of some of the great all-time money matches.
He really has. Phenomenal player in that arena. First sign of frustration from Shaun.
Onto the 15-second shot clock we go as well.
Just threw everything at that, and he got it all wrong. Cue ball flew into the right centre pocket, and that was down to the missed strike. You can be fooled, though, with Shaun, because he's so quick from getting the ball to hitting the ball. It looks like he's getting to the table and it's rash. He's throwing everything at it. That's it, actually the way he goes about it. That's what makes him so quick, is how quick he gets from getting ready to hit the shot to actually hitting it. It does make it rash when it goes wrong.
Yeah, never have I ever seen Shaun Chipperfield feather a cue ball.
No.
Just doesn't do it.
Doesn't do it. So this is the chance for the set. And more than that, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a free chance to the set, but everything's in his favour. Even if he doesn't get it, he's running the clock down, but he's in perfect shape here. And just a case of minding your work.
Yeah, that's nicely played.
He's a little bit short here. I think if he wanted to get straight or just past the straight to be able to stun back to the straight in on the one to the top right. Now he's having to work the cue ball.
That'll do. First set and first blood will go to Craig Waddingham. And if Shaun Chipperfield is to make it through tonight to the final, he will have to do it by way of 6 red shootout. He must first win the second set, because Craig Waddingham has won the first. Craig Waddingham has 1 foot in the final. He leads by a set to 0. Shaun Chipperfield must win this set to force it to a 6 red shootout decider. Craig makes the ball off the break. But yeah, this could get a little bit interesting. That cluster at the top of the table is very interesting. There's a couple elsewhere as well, which could make this frame a little bit intriguing.
Yeah, and you say that he's got 1 foot in the final simply because obviously he can, as long as he avoids defeat here, and even if he does lose this set, he's got a 6 red shootout. But because, for me, I think Shaun Chipperfield may be, well, for me, he's the quickest player on tour, so he's going to be one of the big favourites for every 6 red shootout he's ever in. I think it's one of those that, if you're Craig, the last thing you want to do is end up in a 6 red shootout against Chippy. So
that's very true.
So it just puts that extra little bit of weight on the, guaranteeing the set. We talk about the 6 reds being 50-50. I don't know whether it quite is with Shaun. Anyway,
that's a lovely pot, and is Craig thinking 3-ball plant for the top of the table?
He's lining it up now. If he doesn't like the 3-ball plant, then he can get on the one into the left centre and go up for it. The problem with the 3-ball plant is, where does the red and yellow go? They could still go awkward. And they have gone awkward.
Yeah,
always
a
a
drawback.
Risk. Now, can he get on the one nearest the 8-ball in such a way that he can play it off the yellow at the top of the table? The 8-ball's actually in an awkward position to do that.
He's played that well.
Yeah.
He almost played it slightly too well, but at least it will offer him a clear view of the cue ball. He's not hampered over the top of the 8-ball.
Yeah, what he's coming to do now, because he's going to play the yellow off the yellow, doesn't know quite exactly where the yellow's going to go. It should just pop out and be in play. But he wanted to check that he leaves the cue ball on the bottom left, just in worst case scenario. Oh, he came too thin.
And we have now reached worst case scenario.
Yeah, Shaun Chipperfield's a big favourite for this frame now.
I don't think it... Yeah, he's going to play the yellow. Just try and play as close to a snooker as he can. It's not a bad effort.
I think he's left the loss of turn here. If Shaun can see the red which I think he can, then he can play a pretty comfortable loss of turn. It is risky.
You mean down the bottom left of the table?
Bottom left of the table, yeah. Just glance off the red, pop the yellow. Yes, you're leaving full sight of the yellow at the top, but that's not. Got to make the loss of turn though. Ooh,
yeah, good shot.
Just.
It's no foul. It's just, as the clues in the name, loss of turn. It's just like any sort of miss. Criag is now at a huge disadvantage. And here he's just playing time.
Was that red first? Let's have another look at this. This was very close. I don't think foul's been called.
Ooh, don't think it'll make much of a difference. No nonsense. Scott Price is out there in the arena, the best in the business.
Oh, Shaun's got exactly what he wanted anyway. He's got an opportunity to win this frame.
Cue ball in hand essentially made very little difference.
He wouldn't have put it too far away from where it was anyway, so very, very little difference.
Shaun Chipperfield wins the first frame of the second set.
Did what he had to do. Criag got first chance, but it was a tricky one to solve that ball at the top. Always felt like he would, and these guys make it look so easy sometimes, but they don't always come out. But that one didn't. And Shaun did what he had to do, wait for the right time to go, and then gets them.
Chipperfield seems to be back on the break. Needs to really find a way to get it going, and overcompensates. It's so easy to do. It's almost like you're watching your darts and someone keeps drifting over to the ones, and then all of a sudden they end up in the fives. That's exactly what Shaun Chipperfield's just done in a middle pocket sense. And he chanters away to himself. He's not happy.
Yeah, he knows it's very much an error when you do exactly that, and he's done it 2 breaks on the trot. As you say, opposite sides of the table, overcorrection. Especially having stolen that first frame away from Criag in a sense. Go 2-0 up and start to put it on the front foot. Because he knows, like we know, and
well,
like
that
everyone
was what
knows.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked a little bit about Craig's mentality at the start of the frame. You know, start the set rather. He'll feel confident because he's got the first set down, but you do wonder if Shaun almost feels like he's got the goal difference, if that makes sense, and that being the 6 red shootout. He's got the ace in the hole. He's only ever done 1 solo 6 red shootout. It was 17.43 seconds.
Yeah, my understanding is that's the second quickest ever.
Yeah, it was fast. Yeah,
it was very fast, and that was his first ever solo effort at doing it. I think, whether rightly or wrongly, in his own mind, I think he believes that all things being equal, he's a favourite against everybody on the tour in a 6 red shootout.
Maybe apart from Brian Halcrow.
Apart from the quickest man in Paul. I mean, there's a few players that would probably feel like that. Chris Melling springs to mind, but Shaun really is incredibly quickly, and it's the speed he is from the minute he gets down to hitting the ball that makes him so dangerous in a 6 red. No feathering at all, it's down a hit. But once again, Craig's just worked himself in a bit of a problem here.
Well, he's got a route out, but I mean, this is... I don't think many others would play that shot. This is Craig's solution to the plan. He's leaving himself a really tough long yellow, but he backs himself to make it, and then the rest of the finish is simple from there.
Just watch sliding behind the red as well.
I think he was. I think that's what he was watching. He's got the perfect cannon. He wanted to be really full in the face of this red. I think he was just thinking of that. He's not missed by much.
It's exactly what Shaun wanted to see, though. Another chance. Goes bagging for Craig, and a chance for Shaun to counter clear and make it 2-0.
So much of the opening 16 weeks of the competition in the group stages, the standard was just absolutely off the charts. Felt like we'd go whole nights without seeing a missed pot. And as we've entered the second stage, and tonight as well, we've just seen what can happen. Maybe when the stakes are increased, when the finish line is in sight, and it doesn't half make it a more exciting spectacle, because you truly do not know what's coming next.
Yeah, and these guys are human, and there is pressure out there. There's a lot on the line here.
Not that Shaun Chipperfield looks like a man under pressure as he saunters around the table and rattles in a rapid counter clearance. 2-0. It's very focused, does Chippy.
He loves these Monday nights as well. This is his third finals night in 4. Quite incredible. Quite incredible.
Yeah, it is. Of course, 2 of those came in the pairs with his partner Carl Sutton, but yeah, that's a pretty amazing statistic.
What a split this is. Almost like a soft explosion where everything just spreads nice and even across the table. A couple of balls drop in, and then pick your colour set and off you go. It's going to be reds, and red over the bottom left is the main reason for that. It's not a problem ball at all, but you've got one red away from the rest of your work. You're leaving it late, and then you've got to play half a positional shot onto the 8 ball.
Possibly. I can't see him not taking these 2 down the table now.
Could have seen him half a chance to maybe leave 1 down the table, but I don't think he will. The yellows could have got in the way, and you can make a case the easiest ball to play on off the one at the top is the 8 ball rather than either red.
Has he himself a little bit hampered here?
Yeah, I'm not sure he'll be pleased with that one. He does want to come back and get himself fairly straight just so he can screw down the left-hand side of the table. And the closer you get to it, the less you have to force it. You just have to time it then. So it's the perfect angle, but it's hampered.
Oh, he's played that well. He's cued that dream.
Yeah, just far enough off the cushion that the yellow in the middle of the table is not going to get in the way here. Just bring it back. Somewhere it is now, just past it. All the room in the world. Very nice.
This is a lovely visit to the table. Really, really good from Craig Waddingham. A fitting response as he reminds Shaun Chipperfield that he is still very much in the hunt. That shot in isolation was not tough, but the way he had to cue it was difficult. And that was a super little bit of cueing.
Keeps the pressure on in the same way as Stevie in the first match. He knows that a draw's enough, so as long as he stays within 1, Shaun will be feeling the pressure.
Can Shaun get his break to fire? No.
That is 3 on the bounce.
And I don't care what competition you're in, at any level, Ultimate Pool or otherwise, Pro Series, Champions League, if you keep going in off your break, you are going to struggle to win matches.
But also how you go in off the break. It's not like the perfect break that gets kicked in off. He's gone twice straight in the right-hand side and once straight in the left-hand side. There's 3 poor breaks by his own standards. The only good news is he has left a a problem for Craig to solve. It's not a guaranteed run out by any stretch. This is trickier than a couple of chances he had earlier on in this set. Interesting one. He had an opportunity. He was eyeing up playing red left centre with the perfect angle just to go into the red and yellow together, and he decided against it. Harder to get into it from this side of the table. Lovely.
Always a plan.
That was much harder than going into it the other way round.
Judged that well as well. Remember, Craig just needs to draw in this set. If he gets to 3, Shaun Chipperfield must get to 4. He's worked these out really nicely. Pretty faultless, really.
May have just left a shade more angle than he wanted there, as he probably is still just about straight enough just to pull this back for a simple enough 8-ball. Overhead looks like it is comfortably. You could tell from the main camera and that one there that he was just going to leave the cue ball a little bit higher up the table, but when you pot as well as Craig, these aren't a problem at all.
Out of the pocket for Craig Waddingham. And he's locked in.
And now he has all the aces again, 2-2 and the break. Quite amazing, actually, to see it happen kind of 2 times on the trot. The guy that won the first set goes 2-0 down in the second set, and then,
yeah,
I mean, Stevie responded by winning the next 3. Craig's got the chance to do just that as well.
You won't bet against him the way it's going at the moment. Shaun Chipperfield needs that momentum to pull back the other way. Craig Waddingham is starting to find his rhythm on the break. And this is a great chance, or at least it appeared.
Hit them great. That cue ball right in the middle of the table, driving the power through the pack again.
You can see that little spring in the step of Craig Waddingham. That's when you know that he's really feeling it.
Slight grimace because these 2 yellows are awkward at the bottom of the table. He might have the perfect angle straight away.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why he was grimacing. He wasn't sure he was on that initially, but then actually, when he realised he was, it was perfect.
Needs to hit a gap and does.
Just overhit that one.
Tester here, though.
Yeah, he wanted to be straight in on either of the 2 yellows. He wanted the cue ball somewhere near the top of the line in the triangle area. He's straight in top right. If he comes up short, he'd take straight in top left, would have been fine. But he was playing for straight in on the one he's going to play. But it's a perfect recovery.
That's a terrific shot.
And this is where your potting bails you out. Okay, he didn't get good position on that one, but he's not then too worried about trying to get close on the next one. He just knows he wants to get the perfect line. And he has got the perfect line.
If Craig Waddingham gets to 3, Shaun Chipperfield must get to 4. Craig Waddingham is 1 ball away from forcing the issue. There can be no more mistakes from here on out for Shaun Chipperfield. He must win the next 2 frames. If he does not, you're looking at your second Ultimate Pool Champions League finalist.
Some response to this from Criag after making a couple of errors to start this match. Break clearance, reverse clearance, break clearance. Turn the tables and all the pressure now on Chippy. And it can't be a good feeling for him right now. He's absolutely mishit as badly as you can. His previous 3 breaks.
He's cut breaking.
Yeah, this isn't a surprise the way he's hit the previous 3.
Needs a ball, gets one, and will have a chance. And this is where Chippy has to keep his head up.
Also where he needs to be clever, because he's got a problem to solve on the left-hand side of the table. I think he has to go yellows. I don't think there's a way of solving the red and 8 ball, but there's a way of solving the yellows and 8 ball. He might fire into it straight away. Or he's going to go for the double. You can open it up if you go for the double, but you can open it up if you go top right as well.
Yeah. Lovely. He's going to have to pull out a shot.
Yeah, the problem with playing the shot he played was he was always likely to leave himself something like this rather than anything easier. But
Fires it in.
In the same way as Craig Waddingham, Shaun is another player that really does back his potting. He's a phenomenal potter.
He's off angle though, I think.
He is.
Is he going to have to top through and take it short position?
I think he's got too much angle for that as well. He goes into the red. This is actually really, really awkward.
Can he take the bottom yellow?
Body language says no, but now he's seeing it, he's on it.
Yeah, good recovery. Still needs another one. I think he's got just enough angle to stun out here.
Yeah, just.
Just, yeah. You can see how straight this looks. That's to really force it. He's played a great shot there. It's a better shot than it looked at. Rams it into the pocket.
Oh, he's so good, isn't he? Just under huge pressure.
What a clearance.
A clearance where the pressure was building with every shot, and he's come up with a good. That was amazing.
3-all, brilliant from Shaun Chipperfield. Breaks and runs just when he needed to. 3 minutes 19 left. It shows how quickly these two play. We will have a deciding frame. Shaun Chipperfield just wants a shot. Craig Waddingham is breaking for the match and breaking for a place in the final. That may be the last time we see Shaun Chipperfield at the table. He'll be crossing his fingers and his toes that it isn't. He's so locked in, he's stood up to watch. Can't blame him. Craig flushes them, and he's got a ball. And he's got a very presentable chance.
Got the sense he wanted to punch the air when a ball dropped in then. There's work to be done yet, but they are there for him. It's 3 minutes on the clock, is this, especially when how quick Chippy plays. It's not one that you can really worry about running the clock down. He has to just back himself to make this finish. Forget about all of that. Just make the finish, you win the match. And they're all there. I
think, to be honest, even if there was 2 minutes on the clock, that would be how Craig would be approaching it. There wouldn't be any sort of thinking to the way that Stevie or Shaun himself might go about this finish.
But equally, they've come out so well that you don't have to worry about anything else, because I mean, it's probably the best split of the whole night.
Yeah, great time to get it.
Just let that one drift a little bit. Straight in on the one to the bottom left was probably the order of the day there. And then you use the one left centre to connect to the other one. Maybe he was going the other way around. Maybe, just because of where the 8 ball and yellow are. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go here.
Two shots away from a spot in the final.
It's not a great angle. Can he? Oh, he's straight enough. He's just straight enough. I thought he had a hair more angle.
And he knows. Craig Waddingham is in the final. Shaun Chipperfield bows out at the semi-final stage, and Craig Waddingham will take on Stevie Dempsey for it all